Hello student, I am your APD ma'am and today we are going to discuss the topic organisms and population. Now let's start our discussion with the term ecology. Now ecology is a branch of biology that deals with the study of interaction between the organism and its surroundings, and the term ecology is introduced by Ritter, and Haeckel defined it as the relation of organisms to its organic, that means living, as well as the inorganic, that means non-living environment. Now we can explain the ecology into two aspects. First one, the autoecology, and the second one is the synecology. Now autoecology deals with the species, its nutrition, growth, development, reproduction, and that's why autoecology is known as species ecology, whereas synecology deals with the community, and here the main concern is the relationship between the organisms and the relationship between the surroundings and the organism. Okay. Now, level of organization. In the biosphere, organisms are distributed or present in such a way. Now, let's see the diagram. The first one is the individual, and many individuals of the same species form the population, and many population. Now, see here that is the population, here another one and another one form the community, and many community along with their abiotic factors form the ecosystem. Now many ecosystem forms the biomes and many biomes form the biosphere. But what is population? Population is actually the group of organisms that exhibit some special characteristics. What are they? First one is the interbreeding. Interbreeding means they can reproduce among themselves. And next one, spatially integrated. Spatially integrated means they occupy a particular area to exhibit their biological activities. Now next one is the gene pool. Each and every population has their own gene pool. For example, human population. Now human population has their own genetic setup, gene pool, whereas the tiger population has their own genetic setup and gene pool. And next one is the ecological role. Now each and every population play a vital role in the ecosystem. It's maybe in form of producer, maybe in form of consumer, maybe in form of decomposer. Now this is about the definition of the population. Okay. Now the next concept is habitat, microhabitat and the niche. Now see the term habitat and microhabitat. Now micro means small. That means there are some small spaces inside the habitat which is regarded as the microhabitat. Let's take an example of forest. Now inside the forest there are several types of organisms, and these organisms occupy particular spaces to exhibit their biological activity. That means inside the forest there are some pockets in which each different organisms actually present. Now see the diagram here. Now these are the different areas of the same forest. Now see here the appearance of the trees, appearance of the all the abiotic factors, their nature of the soil, all are different, and that's why for each and every pocket the diversity or the presence of the organisms are also different, and these pockets are known as the microhabitat, and the whole forest is known as the habitat. Now according to Odum, habitat is actually the address of an organism. Okay. But what is about the niche? Niche is actually the profession of the organism. Now it's a multidimensional concept. Now it includes the adaptation of the organism, it includes the physical conditions which are very important for their life. It includes the interaction between the organism, it includes the activity pattern and also the habitat. All those things are involved in the niche concept. Okay. Now the first example, forest. Forest is a habitat of all the organisms, all the population that are found in the forest. It's also the habitat of the tiger, also the habitat of the deer, also the habitat of the monkey. But the niche, that means the ecological role of the tiger, the ecological role of the deer, the ecological role of the monkey all are different. That means habitat can be same but niche cannot be same. But if it overlap or same, then what will be the result? Let's see. Now go says observe this thing with two different paramecium, Paramecium aurelia and Paramecium caudatum. Now he cultured the aurelia and caudatum into two different culture medium at first, and he observed that with day the population density is actually increased up to a certain level in the both case, in case of aurelia and caudatum. But when he cultured the aurelia and caudatum in the same cultural medium, then he observed different result. Now let's see the third graph. Now here at the beginning the population growth of the caudatum is higher than the aurelia, but after that the population density of the caudatum is gradually declining and the population density of the aurelia is gradually increases. But what happened? There is a competition between the aurelia and caudatum for the nutrition. Okay, and as the aurelia is stronger than the caudatum, aurelia defeated the caudatum and the population of the caudatum gradually declined, and at the end it actually eliminated from the cultural medium. Now this principle is known as competitive exclusion principle, and it happens when both the species are strong or one strong and one weak. Okay, but this competitive exclusion principle is not applicable for the species where two species are weak. Now let's see here. Resource partitioning and niche segregation occur. Now what are they? Now see the diagram here, three types of whale bladder, and they actually segregate or partition their resource among themselves. Now see here, the first one actually feed on the lower portion of the tree, and the second one actually take their nutrient from the middle portion of the tree, and the last one actually take their nutrient from the apical part of the tree. That means here actually they distribute their resources among themselves, and this is known as resource partitioning and niche segregation. Okay. Now we study the population in detail. Now we can study the population into three aspects: the spatial aspect, genetic aspect and the demographic aspect. Now spatial aspect is actually related to their habitat, their movement, and genetic aspect according to their genetic diversity, and demographic aspect is actually the study of their birth rate and growth rate and their population size. Now let's see the demographic aspect. Now here are several factors. First one, the natality. Now natality is the birth rate. That means the number of individuals are included by reproduction by the individuals for a certain time. And the mortality is actually the death rate. The number of organisms are eliminated by death. Okay. Now natality actually increase the population, whereas mortality actually decreases the population. And the another two factor is the immigration and immigration. Now immigration, when a group of organisms actually take entry into a population, that is immigration, and immigration increases the population, whereas immigration where a certain number of individual leaves the population, that is immigration, it's actually decrease the population. Now these four factors are dynamic with time. With time they are changeable, and that's why the size of the population is also changing, and it is known as dynamic. And if we want to calculate the population size, then we have to follow it. We have to add the natality and the immigration, and then we have to deduce the mortality and the immigration from the first one, and then we can get the population size. Okay. Now see here, at the first case, if the positive factors are greater than the negative factors, that means immigration and natality is higher than the immigration and mortality, then the population is actually increasing with the time, increasing population or growing population. The next one, if the positive factor is equal to the negative factor, that means immigration and natality is equal to the immigration and mortality, then it's a stable population, there is no such growth. At the third case, if the positive factors are lower than the negative factors, then the population gradually decline in size, and that is known as declining population. Okay. Now with time, depending upon the factor, the size of the population is gradually changes. Now let's start the discussion of age structure of a population. Now what is age structure or age distribution? Now if we study the population, there are several types of age group. First one, the pre-reproductive age, that means the age group from 0 to 14, and then the reproductive age from the adolescence up to the stage of menopause, that means 15 to 44, and the post reproductive age, that means after the menopause to death. Now the distribution of these three age group is actually depict the growth of the population. At the first two cases, see here, the number of pre-reproductive age individual is higher than other two age group, the reproductive and the post-reproductive, and that's why the population is gradually increasing, expanding. Okay. At the next case, here the pre-reproductive, reproductive and the post-reproductive phase is more or less same, and that's why it's a stable population. That means here the natality and the mortality is same, is balanced. Okay. At the last case, here see here, the pre-reproductive age group is the lowest among the other age group, and that's why the natality rate is lower, whereas the death rate is higher, and that's why this type of population is actually declining population. Now here the diagrammatic representation of it. Now the first two case, The first one and second one is the expanding population, and this one is the stable population. It's a bell-shaped curve. And the fourth one is actually the urn-shaped curve, where the population is gradually declining. Okay. Now the population growth. Now here population can grow into two conditions, where the resource is unlimited and another one where the resource is limited. Now let's start about the unlimited resource condition. Now here the population is growing at exponential rate because it's an ideal condition and resource is unlimited, and that's why all the individuals are reproduced at their biotic potential. Biotic potential means at their biotic capability, biological capability, and there is no negative factor that reduce this biological capacity, and that's why the population grow in the exponential rate. And here the population is small in size and it's applicable for the unicellular populations. Okay, now here the shape of the curve is the J-shaped, and as there is no limiting factor, there is no carrying capacity or the upper limit up to which the population can grow. Okay, but at the natural condition there are some environmental stochasticity. That's why up to a certain level the population is gradually declining. Okay. Now see here, if we consider the environmental condition, that means limiting factor, environmental resistance, then the population cannot grow exponentially. They actually grow in a A-shaped curve, sigmoid shaped curve. Now here environmental resistance is actually the availability of the food and water, the space, the mate, disease, predation, environmental changes, and the toxic material injury and the censuses. Now first are the density dependent factor. That means whenever the number of the individual is increasing, the factors are also increasing, but the environmental change is not the density dependent factor, it's density independent factor. Okay, now see the growth curve. Now here if we see the graph and take some phases like that. Now here at the first phase, it is known as the positive acceleration phase, because here the resource is unlimited and the number of individual is very low. That's why here the population is growing in exponential manner, rapid growth. And this one is also the rapid growth phase and up to a certain level, and this phase, and at this phase the population is maximum. That means it reaches the half of its carrying capacity, its upper limit, and this phase is known as the log phase. And after this phase, the next phase is the negative acceleration phase. That means up to that point the growth begins to slow, and after that when the population reaches the carrying capacity, the upper limit, then the population growth is 0. Okay, now here it is the mathematical or equational representation. Now see the growth equation of equational growth. exponential growth. Now dn by dt is equal to b minus d, that means birth minus date is into n. N is the initial number of individual. Okay, now here birth minus date, this factor is actually the growth. Now see the two equation. First one, dn by dt is equal to r into n. Here r is equal to the biotic potential, and here in case of A-shaped curve, another additional factor k minus n divided by k is added, and this is environmental resistance. Okay, now these are the two equation of exponential growth curve and the sigma shaped growth. Now the next topic is the population interaction. Now in the environment, in the community, all the individuals are interacted to each other, and there are several types of interaction. The first one is amensalism. In this case, one species is negatively affected and other one is unaffected. For example, there are certain plants that releases some toxic material surroundings, and for that no one plant can grow surrounded by them, and here the plant that release the toxic material is unaffected but others are affected, and this type of interaction is known as the amensalism. And the next one is the mutualism. It's a obligatory relationship where two species are positively affected, then both are benefited. For example, the relationship between the leguminous plant and the rhizobium. Here rhizobium helps the plant to fix the nitrogen, whereas plants provide the shelter. Okay, now this is the mutualism. Now next one is the commensalism. Now commensalism is the relationship where one species is benefited but other one is unaffected. For example, the relationship between the sea anemone and the clownfish. Now whenever the sea anemone capture the food particles, many food particles are left surrounded themselves, and the sea and the clownfish actually capture the scattered food particles. Now here clownfish are benefited but sea anemone is unaffected. The next one is the competition. Here both the species are negatively affected. The competition between the herbivores for a particular plant, the competition between the carnivores for the same herbivore. Okay, now next one, the parasitism. Here one species is benefited and another one is affected. Now benefited one is known as parasite and another one is known as the host. The relationship between the ascaris and the human. And the last one is the predation. Here also one is benefited. Now benefited one is known as the predator and the affected one is known as the prey. Okay, now up to this, that is the first part of your discussion. At the next class we will discuss the interaction of the organisms with the abiotic factor. Now till that, revise your lesson and learn properly. Thank you.